Hi, hello. This is Moon Griffon for the Moon Griffon podcast. Glad you're joining us today as we rock and roll. We like to talk about national issues. And today I got a couple of them we're going to try to squeeze in this program. The first one is the borders. Think about what's going on at the border. And I want you to think about the problems that we have, and they're major now. Okay, it's major. Let's go back to what's causing this. And let's go back to our elected officials. And let's go back to the President of the United States, President Joe Biden. This is where the problem starts, okay? They've just let the borders just stay wide open, and it's causing a lot of problems, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. But I want to understand one thing, and maybe you guys and ladies out there can explain it to me. What kind of person in the United States of America, what kind of person would allow the borders to be open? What kind of person does it take not to defend the sovereignty of the United States of America? What kind of person would allow the things that are happening coming across the border to hurt, kill, and really devastate a lot of our people over here? Let me be real blunt with you, because I'm going to be real blunt about this. I don't know what kind of person does that to their own country. I understand communism, that's Satan. I understand Marxism, that's Satan. But in a free country, where we have an opportunity to be the best we can be, what kind of person allows this to happen? Now, this is on Joe Biden's watch. Chucky Schumer has been the Senate president for the last 2 years. Nancy Pelosi was the House Speaker before she was knocked out. So all three of them in the Democrat Party, not to say there ain't a few Republicans don't agree with it, and a lot of Chamber of Commerce type, but what kind of person would allow the things that are happening at the border that's happening to our own citizens every day? What I mean by that is the fentanyl. I personally know about 3 or 4 people that have lost loved ones and kids to the fentanyl overdose of drugs and dope that's coming across the border. A lot of people know China, the Chinese, are sending a lot of that across the border because we just open it up. That's what I'm saying. What kind of man or woman would say, come on in, and we don't care who you are, and bring whatever you want? And then yet we have people, 100,000, 200,000, whatever the number is, that are dying from fentanyl overdose or drug overdose. Not to mention the rapes, the sexual abuse of children. All this is taking place. Okay? Not to mention murderers, people being killed, crime, people on their property. The stuff that's going on is being allowed to happen to our citizens in the United States of America. What kind of mindset? Who the hell would allow people to come across and hurt people here in the United States of America? What's the President Joe Biden? Give Trump credit for a lot of things, but one of the things he tried to do was shut the border down. And the first thing we have to do is shut it down, stop the flow, and then we need to decide what we're going to do. This has been going on for a long time. But what I don't understand now is, I'm a leader, and I'm allowing people to come over here, kill, rape, bring sexual abuse to people and kids. We've got family members. There's been so many cases of somebody that was sent back, allowed back in, that killed somebody, killed several people in a family. But it doesn't happen if a leader steps up and says, we're going to stop this. But what's happening is we're looking the other way. Look, we got laws. We're a country of laws. We are a country of laws. We're not a country of just open the door and do whatever the hell you want to do. And that's what's happening. And I've started asking myself, what kind of people, what kind of person would it take to allow this? And I'm watching old Sleepy Joe and Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi, and nobody putting pressure on them. Courts even rule in their favor sometimes. You got to think about what I just said. Rape, murder, crime, killing, drug trade, sex trade with young kids. All that's taking place at the border. They're coming from countries. Folks, I'm just going to be blunt. I'm being nice about it, really. They're coming from hellholes. They're not coming because of global warming. They're coming to get out of the real hellhole they live in, which is not a free country. And why wouldn't they come? They're not being stopped at the border in any kind of numbers that are making a difference. Let me tell you what else they're doing. Since we're talking about this, what kind of leaders would take People that come across the border, not vetted. People that come across the border and ship them all over the country and spread them out. We're giving them money. We're giving them food. We're giving them clothing. Okay? We're giving them everything for them to live. We got poor people in this country who can't survive right now. This makes no sense. It has no common sense. It's actually anti-American. We're actually hurting them and they're hurting us. Now, by the way, it's not everyone. There are a lot of people, good people that want to come over here and do better for them, their family, but there's a legal way to do that. We allow them to come over here and then we're $32, $34 trillion in debt. We have no money. We can keep printing it and it's devastating you and me through inflation. It's devastating our money. It's devastating our jobs. Interest rates are going up. Food prices are going up. Energy prices are going up. So why in the world we're not only letting people come across, the Biden administration is shipping them to all parts of the country to spread them out. And you know, the thing about it is this ought to not be happening. We have laws. We're a country of laws. And I'm sitting here looking at this and going, oh my God, we're going to give away the sovereignty of the United States of America. And yet people that vote Democrat, they're not complaining. They're not saying a word. They're not jumping up and down. We just had elections. What was it? A few months ago. And instead of running out the party who's doing this, we didn't run out the party. We had a very slight change in the House and no change in the Senate. And yet the people that are voting for this, that keep fighting the changes that we need to make this country great again, are the Democrat Party. You can get mad at me all you want to. Look, I'm not a Republican either. I'm a conservative. I'm not a registered Republican. I'm a no party. I did it on purpose. I get mad at the Republicans more than the Democrats because I think they should know better. But folks, let me ask you a question. The minority communities in the inner cities. Okay, all the problems we have in the inner cities, they're taking some of these people and shipping them to the inner cities. They're taking a lot of these people and they're not doing what they should have done with these people, which told them you can't come in unless you come in legally. Now, I want to know what kind of person does this to their country. Well, it's the politicians, especially the Democrats. Look, I'm not taking the Republicans away too because they know better. But what happens is they are not stepping up and they're not counting the loss that's happening to the United States of America. They're not. They're not even thinking about this. They don't even care about this. This is not even important to them. But you know why? Because it doesn't affect them. You see, we got a lot of elected officials and a lot of lobbyists now, filthy rich. Filthy rich. They play the game. They're filthy rich. Their families are not going through this. They're elite. They live high on the hog. Their families are protected. They got a lot of money. They got guards. They live in the nicest homes. They're not shipping. They're not shipping illegals. And they call them what they are, the illegal aliens. They're not shipping illegals to these areas. They send them to areas that are already in trouble, already some bad areas. They're not shipping them where they live. Oh, no. They elite. They shouldn't live with the peasants like you and me. They want them to live among people like them. And that's what they're doing. So you see, I started thinking, who would allow something like this to happen? Then I started looking at where they're shipping these people and where they're sending these people. Those people are protected. The lobbyists that live in Virginia are protected. Now, go back to Ron DeSantis of Florida and Governor Abbott in Texas. They've actually shipped people to Kamala Harris's house. They've actually shipping people, okay, to nice places, but the Democrats are just taking them and shipping them somewhere else. We don't have the money to take care of anybody that's just coming across the border. We don't. Number two, it's illegal. This is breaking a law. If you and me get stopped for drinking and driving and hurt somebody, we're going to jail. We're going to pay the price. These people are coming across. They're paying no price. They're not paying a price at all. During COVID, while you and me, they wanted you to go get the vaccine and wear a mask that never worked. And by the way, we're getting ready to turn to talk about that because now the CDC is saying something totally different on masks. And I want to make sure I get that in this segment. They made you and me wear a mask. They made you and me stand 6 foot distance. They made you and me do all this stuff. They want you to get a vaccine. They let these people across. They weren't being tested. They didn't get a vaccine. Okay, they might have worn a stupid mask, but that's the dumbest thing you can put on somebody anyway. My point being is we got more protection for people who don't belong here than we got the protection for the people who do belong here. It seems to me the elected official ought to look out for America and look out for the people that are here. Black, white, green, and yellow, Democrat, Republican. It's like it's more important to allow people to come in. The word is that Joe Biden has let over 5 million people in this country in the last 2 years. And they're not stopping anybody. And everybody said, well, they're stopping people. They're sending them back. I don't look at how many they stop. I look at how many comes in. Folks, this is immoral. This is unethical. This is un-American. And we're not stopping it. We're not trying to stop it. And I want to know why. Why do these people, Joe Biden, why does the president of the United States, why does Barack Obama and the rest of them, why do they want to destroy America? Because this is the quickest way to destroy it. Just open the borders. Folks, we're the United States of America. We're supposed to have a border. Mexico is supposed to have their border. Canada, China, everybody's got their borders. And you're supposed to honor that. But you know what? Our politicians, our elected officials, the president and Congress and everybody else is sworn to an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America. That's their job. That's their number one job, is to protect our borders. And I'll be damned if they're protecting our borders. Listen, China can't stand us, okay? They've had a 700% increase in the number of Chinese immigrants or illegals or whatever you want to call them coming across the border. Why? You know? They're coming across the border and they're flying balloons above us and we don't do anything about it. And that's Joe Biden. And that's the president of the United States. This right here is a shame. This right here this will destroy us from within. We're not worried about somebody coming and blow us up. But what they're doing is they're destroying us within. And it's not just that, it's the culture war. And I can get into all that later. But the point being is, who allows this to happen against the American citizens? It's the people you and me are electing. I wish the Democrat voter would be upset about this. They ought to be livid about this, because one day when this debt gets to 40 trillion and we can't pay for stuff and stuff is costing us so much, remember this. Remember what your people that you vote for did to you. This is outrageous. This is so outrageous, it's not even funny anymore. This is sick and sad. And I'll be danged if the United States of America and our political leaders are not fighting the border crisis that needs to be fought. This is so disheartening till I can't see straight. And folks, we're going to lose our country. We're going to lose our country. You keep voting Democrat, you're going to lose our country. Now, I want to jump one other thing, because I found this interesting. People that don't know me, from the first day when COVID came around and they started with masks. I'm married to a nurse. I've been around a lot of doctors. I have a special need child. We spent a lot of time in Children's Hospital, okay? And until COVID, I never even saw the mask. I never saw a mask. Doctors used to tell me the reason they wore a mask is when they were operating, you had an open wound, and you didn't want to sneeze in it. You didn't want to, cough in a wound or spit in a wound, because once you sew it up, that's in there and it can hurt. You know yourself, when you're getting operated, that's the only time to wear a mask. And when they came out with mask mandate, Dr. Fauci, quack himself, said, we don't need a mask. Folks, we never have needed a mask. The mask was one of the biggest lies. The vaccine is going to stop you getting the virus or spreading the virus was a gigantic lie. We know that. But I'm not a doctor on the vaccine. Okay, I'm not. But I read enough on masks, and there were studies on masks that said they cannot stop a virus. The virus is so small, and everybody's wearing these little blue masks, and these little masks made, guess where, in China. And COVID spread, because the mask was never going to stop it. Now, face masks made little to no difference in preventing spread of COVID. And guess who came up with that? Research suggests CDC's claim of mask effectiveness may have been exaggerated. You think? It was a lie. It was an outright lie. I didn't wear one. I had to wear one a couple times. I'd borrow my wife's. Proving the point, okay? I never got COVID. I've never had COVID, okay? Don't mean COVID won't kill me, but I never had it. And so one of the things that I'm kind of getting a kick out of is that they did all these claims and surveys and all this stuff, and found out that the CDC now has changed course, okay? And they're saying now the mask did not do anything to stop the flow of COVID, which I knew. I used to get on my program. People got mad at me. Friends of mine got mad at me. Older people got mad at me. And I said, it's not going to stop anything. And I'm not a doctor and I'm not a scientist, but I don't play like one either. I just knew from reading and looking at a mask, masks that are touched, they contaminate immediately. I got masks in the truck. Nobody's washing that thing. You'd have to wash it every hour or two. September, CDC Director Robert Redford said during the Senate hearing that face masks are more important and powerful health tool than having a vaccine, which was a lie. Anyway, new scientific research review led by 12 researchers from esteemed universities around the world suggests that widespread masking may have done little or probably nothing to curb the transmission. Now, if a dumb Cajun, if a dumb South Louisiana guy knew it, and I knew it, it was no doubt. I'd seen everything on this. I'd read everything on this. And they did surveys and they did scientific updates. Okay? And the mask never worked. I had people get mad at me. I never wore them. If somebody didn't want me to come, I didn't go somewhere. The mask never worked. The CDC saying, well, it really didn't work. No shit, Sherlock. No shit. It didn't work. It never was going to work. A little mask you buy at Walmart or your convenience store was never going to work. We got people wearing masks and walking around like a bunch of zombies. It was never designed to work. It was about control. Number one, they wanted to see how far they can go, and we let them go. The mask was not going to stop a virus. A virus is too small for the mask. It just goes right through it. It was no big deal. But yet they made it a big deal. Wear a mask, wear a mask, wear a mask. Wear a mask for what? It can never stop a virus that small. These little cloth masks that we touch, I put mine in my truck. Matter of fact, mine was blue when it started. It had brown all over it, okay? It's not because I was wearing it, because I left it in the sun and left it in the truck. CDC says over-exaggerated. CDC says, and researchers say, did nothing to stop the virus. Vaccine didn't either. The vaccine never stopped the spread of the virus. Never stopped you from getting it or spreading it. And yet now we know all this. And now it breaks my heart because I had people get mad at me and I was right. And I don't like to brag when I'm right, but I was right on the mask. I was 100% right on a stupid cloth mask. And by the way, the other thing in the report, they said they went to Europe, okay? And they were over there, they were using the N95 mask. Guess what they found out? It made little or no difference on how many people had confirmed flu or mask. In other words, it didn't stop it when they wore the N95 either. Did not stop it. There it is. All right, folks. Moon Griffon Podcast, Griffon. Please make sure you subscribe. Tell your friends about it. Common sense guy coming at you from South Louisiana. I'm telling you, make sure you subscribe. We want to have you subscribe for the podcast. Make some comments. Love to hear from you. God bless. See you next time.